Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Kings of Anglia Fans Social, where town fans have their say on all things going on at Portman Road. And here we are. We're so close to the big kickoff. Oh, it's finally here. Fans are back in the stadium, and this is the Fan Social preview show. I'm joined by five fine gentlemen, the men that I've been able to have great company with during the pandemic, in the lockdowns and all that sort of stuff. And I cannot wait to see them all in person. I'm joined this week by Seggs, Dazza, Tom, John Watson, and good old Dan to talk all things town for the coming season. First of all, I'm going to introduce a man that I haven't spoken to and haven't seen for a while, and that is good old Thomas Seggons, Mr. Game Day himself, wearing a very beautiful pink goalkeeping kit. It looks sexy. Seggs, welcome back. And how excited are you for this season?
Very, very excited. First season back with fans, finally allowed back inside. I can't wait, buzzing for that. I think Saturday is when life comes back for me. So, buzzing really. And it looks even sexier with me in it, doesn't it? So,
your words, not mine, but pretty nice. I like it. But good to have you back, my friend. And up next, I'm going to go over to Dazza, who I met in person for the very first time. It was a pleasure. We lost against Crystal Palace, but that doesn't care. It was just a nice day out. And I also met your son as well, although I've forgotten his name. So I'm so sorry for your son. Oh, no, it's Lewis, isn't it? It's Lewis?
Yes, it is.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, he'll love that. He'll love that you remembered it. We were actually talking about you earlier. But it was nice to meet you. And we met with Matt and David, the other another two members of the KOA posse, as you call us. It's always great to meet people in person. You've actually triggered me to start dieting since you took those photos of me standing sideways, and I realised how my lockdown stomach has grown, and I've started training and everything off the back of that photo. So I'm going to get back in shape, and soon to be announced as coming out of retirement. Maybe we'll see. But buzzing, loving, ready for the season now.
Love it. And to be fair, you did post those photos, so maybe that's not the best thing. Sometimes it needs a more of natural look, but it was great to snap some pictures of you guys in the stands. And I'm going to go over to a man who is, in another country, in Wales. I think he's in Wales. That's right. But it's good old Tom Baines, who's also got another beautiful beard as well, challenging me. Although John Watson, I'll get onto him in a minute, but he's challenging us as well with a nice beard. It looks good on you, my friend. But Tom, welcome back to the show. And I think the nickname has to be Bainesy. I think Tom is sometimes a boring name. We've got so many Toms on here, or Thomases. So Bainesley is your nickname. And welcome to the show, my friend. How excited are you for the season?
Yeah, I can't remember going into a season feeling this good or this excited in a very, very long time. So, what a fantastic time to be an Ipswich fan. We absolutely deserve to feel like this going into a season. So, can't wait for Saturday. Can't wait for the season to start properly.
And if you're watching this on video, you'll see all the beautiful kits that everyone are wearing. Of course, you're wearing the white, fresh white away kit, which, of course, for some reason we played in it on Saturday in the pre-season friendly against Millwall. But I think it's because it just got put on general sale and also, people to buy it. So it looked good, though. I liked it in person. We already mentioned his name, and it is good old John Watson. He's back, the leader of the Northern Battalion, John Watson, friend of the show, of course. Welcome to the show, and I cannot wait to meet you in the north for the away games. John. Hello.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me on. As always, Ross, good to see you all, fellas. And like everybody else, looking forward to the season. It seems ages since the season finished. And because it's been such an exciting time being a town fan, to have exciting players linked with us and actually sign good players and everything that's positive coming out of the club at the moment, you just want to be part of that. So Saturday can't come soon enough. Unfortunately, I can't make the first game, but I'm hoping to be there for the next 3 or 4 after that. So, looking forward to the season ahead and really exciting. This time of the year, though, it's always really easy to be optimistic, or even the most pessimistic person can find optimism before the season starts. But I think we've got something to be really pleased about this year. And yeah, can't wait for it to all start happening. But if it doesn't go according to plan straight away, I'm not going to worry, because I think like we're on a good thing here. We've got incapable hands. So yeah, lovely to be back. Lovely to be part of it. I've just gone for the new home shirt, Ross. It's a little bit snug, this one, so perhaps I need to follow Darren's lead and make sure I get going a little bit and get fit before I come down in person to see a Portman Road or some away games as well.
Love it. And the final man joining us, another man that I met in person for the very first time for the Millwall game. I met his sons as well, although one of his sons is a Fulham fan. We'll get into that another time. But Dan, welcome back to the show. How good was it to be at Portman Road? I know I spoke to you for game day, but how good it was. And yeah, let's get ready to rumble.
It was great. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, sorry about my son being a Fulham fan. I've contacted the NSPCC about that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, great to be back. For those listening to this, I'm the only person not wearing an Ipswich kit. I've decided to come dressed as a postman. But anyway, I'm here, and it's good, isn't it? Is this the best summer ever as an Ipswich fan that I can remember? Where can it all go wrong? We'll find out.
Well, yeah, off the pitch, it's been all exciting, but on the pitch, we haven't yet seen what can happen. But Morecambe this Saturday is going to be amazing, and I cannot wait to get started. So, this is a very different preview show to normal. Of course, on the main pod, which was fantastic. I'm not being biased because I was on it, but it was great. All the standard questions were answered. But today, I've opened the floor to all the KOA Potty members, the lads who are not able to join us, and also the lads who are with us tonight. Also, a little thing as well, you'll be watching us on YouTube as well. So, guys, I didn't say this. I thought I'd just let you surprise you. This will also go out on YouTube, so people will actually see your faces. So, smile, look good. And let's get into the first question. Now, the first question is from good old Ben Diaf, or Ben Def, as he used to say. And his question is a standard, preview to a season. Who do the lads think will be the top goal scorer, whatever. So put your hand up if you want to answer this. Once again, I'll open the floor. Dazza, over to you. I think you are muted, my friend.
Okay, you can dock me points for that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I've got a sneaky feeling that Norwood is going to be our top scorer. I know there's a lot of attention to Pigott and Macaulay, but I just think Norwood is the last season and a half. He hasn't been fit. He was only fit for the first few months of the first season, and he scored whatever he scored, 6 and 8 games or whatever. I can't remember the exact number. And then since then, he hasn't been fit. So he looks fit to me when we saw him at Palace. So yeah, I think Norwood's going to be top scorer.
How many goals?
Let's go for 20. You've got to have the 20 goal mark, haven't you? 20 goals, okay. Norwood, done.
Okay. Anybody agreeing with that? Or Dan?
Yeah, it's interesting what Darren just said there. There's a lot of talk about Pigott and Botten, but Norwood, he's such a totemic character at Ipswich. He's always involved in some way or not. And if he finally gets a service, I think he can hit a few. It's going to be really, really interesting how Cook plays if we play 4-2-3-1, who he's going to play up front. And last week against Millwall, he played Botten up top with Pigott behind, and Norwood looked in good spirits. He looked fitter than I've ever seen him. He was smiling. He was taking photos. He looked in a good way. It'd be really interesting to see. But I've got a sneaky feeling it could be Norwood or possibly Connor Chaplin. Because he's, we'll see. But I think he's a really good attacking threat, Chaplin. It just all depends. I think it all depends on who he's going to make the main man up top, and that's going to be a fascinating decision against Morecambe, I think, looking for that one.
Have you got the numbers?
The numbers?
Yeah, how many are going to score?
The numbers I'm going... okay, I'll go Norwood 17, top scorer.
Okay. Do you know what? I'm just going to let you all answer this. So, Seggs, over to you, and then we'll go to Bainesy, and then we'll go to good old John Watson to end it.
I I was going to say something not related, but not actually answer the question properly. But I'll say Pigott probably. But I actually think we won't get 20 goals a striker this season just because we've got so many. So I think if he's going to share it about, like he may do, unless we get an injury, maybe if Norwood isn't fully fit the whole season, then he's obviously we've got that share of the load disappears. So if they all can all stay fit throughout the season, I think we're going to struggle to get 20 goals a season striker, which is a good thing to have, though, to be fair. If they all get 17, 18, 15, whatever, then we're on course for that 100 goals. Just need the 100 points as well.
Over to you, Bainesy. Are you agreeing with that, or do you feel Pigott's going to be the man? He's going to do what he did at Wimbledon. He's got the great service now. He'll definitely get there.
I still think Pigott will be top scorer just because he's come off the back of a really good season, and form for a striker and confidence is a massive thing. But I think this could be a really good season for Norwood. He feeds off others in terms of confidence and stuff as well. And I think a new change of scenery, some new players, he's going to have great service. I think this could be the year where he sort of has his best kind of goal scoring record since the time he's been here. He's had a few problems injury wise. There's been the criticism of him on one-on-ones and not being as clinical. And I think having a new team and others around him will benefit him. But what an amazing front, amazing choice to have. Macaulay Bond, championship experience. Joe Pigott coming off a fantastic season, and Norwood, who's scored lots of goals at this level. So I agree with Seggs. I think we might not necessarily see 20 goals, but there's so much attacking potency up front. I think we'll be absolutely fine.
I also think with the service that we've got this year, Pigott's going to be one of the best signings we've made. I think because there's a lot of potential there. Because the squad numbers as well, I guess, is an interesting point, isn't it? Because you got Jackson is number 9. His situation is interesting. Is he going to be part of Cook's plans? Probably not. So will someone else get that number 9? That will be a pivotal moment. Obviously, you don't want to read too much into squad numbers, but that might be a reasonable indicator of his future and who he sees as that number 9.
Of course, it'd be great if they dropped the squad numbers tonight while we're live on doing the podcast, but I don't think it's going to happen. It'll probably happen Friday evening or happen on Saturday morning. Oh, here's the squad numbers, by the way. Oh, it could happen. We'll just find out on the day when they put the lineup out. We'll wait and see on that.
We'll be on the programme.
Yeah.
Program.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, reason to buy it. Well, John Watson, you've heard from all the guys. Pigott, Norwood's been mentioned. Chaplin, who are you going for?
Pigott, 21 goals. I'm going to have a great season. I think it's great that we're going to have Norwood chomping at the bit, which is going to bring out the best in Pigott, because Pigott will want to keep his place. I can't see too many games when they both start. I can see them both maybe playing within the same game, either a sub for each other or Norwood coming on. But I think when Norwood comes on, I think he's going to be really fired up, isn't he? He's going to want to do well. And it's, with all due respect to strikers we had at the club last year, in the formation we tried to play, Jackson in a different system may have done better like he did in the previous season. But, Drizzy and Big Ollie and didn't push Norwood the way these guys are going to do. You've got Macaulay Bond, you've got Pigott and Norwood himself. There's 3 good strikers at this level. We're just talking League One level here. I think Pigott's going to be the man. I think he'll get 21. And I think Norwood will probably get something like 14 or 15. And he'll be like, I'm not saying a super sub, but I think he'll be chomping at the bit. And anytime the game's quiet, he'll come on. And the last thing a defender wants, nobody likes playing against pace, but nobody likes playing against aggression or kind of, he gets under people's skin, doesn't he? He makes things tick. He wants to be around. So I think when he comes on, he'll make a huge impact, and he'll probably start a fair few games as well. But Pigott for me, 21 goals.
Okay, then. Well, let's move on to away days. Now, I know a lot of people have been missing these. I've missed seeing John an away day up in North. So the question is, which away days are you most looking forward to this season? Of course, there's going to be so many new grounds for people to go to. Actually, Wimbledon, Plough Lane. I'm trying to think of all of them, but I can't be asked. So let's move on. I want to go over to Segs first because I know he loves his away days. What's the one when you saw the fixtures and you were able to say, yep, I want to go to that, I want to go to that? Now it seems at the moment, I won't want to jinx it, but we are going to be going to away days, which was very much up in the air when the fixtures came out. We were thinking, oh, fans can be allowed, but it seems like it's going to be. So you've got a lot of choices. What are you going for?
God.
This is from Liam, by the way, this question. Sorry.
I hadn't really given this one much thought, really. I like Sunderland away. I'm looking forward to Gillingham away, especially it's Boxing Day. Be a first away game I go to as a husband. So looking forward to that, especially the bouncy, horrible temporary scaffolded stand. I hope it doesn't rain that day, which it probably will, considering it's Boxing Day. Yeah, there's one or two new grounds as well. Wimbledon one, especially after going to the where were they before? The King's Meadow.
King's Meadow, yeah. Which is a very small ground.
Yeah, going to that after just before COVID struck and how tight that we were and some of the views that people had. Luckily, I was okay, but some people I know struggled to see, and it was a bit of a waste of money. But the game was pretty dire anyway. But so I'm looking forward to going to their new ground, and yeah, I'm trying to remember all the grounds we've got to go to really. So the northwest ones, I like going to the northwest. I feel like Morecambe would be an interesting one if we go. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let Dazza sort of take the lead here, and also Bainesy and John. Sorry, because all the three of you are probably away game. Oh, maybe even Dan, because you live in London, I know. So away days are probably the ones you're going to be able to go to more often. So Dazza, take the lead here.
Yeah.
What are the ones you're looking forward to? I'm sure there's going to be some grounds that you may be returning to anyway, but you love those sort of away days.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun and interesting to go to sort of smaller grounds, traditional League Two, League One clubs. And, I went to Rochdale away a couple of seasons ago. That was an interesting little ground. But for me, the toss up this season would be between Sheffield Wednesday, because they have an amazing roast pork bap shop just outside the stadium. And obviously it's a very historical stadium as well. And Sunderland. I haven't been to Sunderland before, and I'll probably, hopefully, get to see John while I'm up there. So that's probably just tipped the balance, seeing the King of the North, and going to the ground that obviously I've only seen on Match of the Day. And what was that program called on Netflix? The what was it called?
Sunderland Till I Die.
Sunderland Till I. Well, yeah. How could I not forget that? Yeah. So I'll be looking forward to go to that ground and meet up with the King.
Definitely. And Bainesy, then, what's on your radar? And we're speaking off air. I'm sorry to steal your thunder here, but Cheltenham Town is one of them. That'd be the first time Town have ever played at Cheltenham's new ground. I think we played them once before in the 30s, so none of us was alive. But it'll be a great little trip down to Cheltenham, although it's a Tuesday night, which is a bit of a balls up, but it is what it is.
I've lost a few. I've lost Bristol, which is obviously very, very, very close to me. So poor old Bristol Rovers, they've gone. Swindon would have also been a very close one for me. So geography's not on my side this year. But yeah, Cheltenham would be the first one for me Tuesday night. I've managed to convince my wife to come with me. She's got a pretty good record. 1-1 in the East Anglian derby, and then the 5-3 opener a few years ago against Barnsley. So hopefully we can get a result. I've been there before. I watched County play a very boring 0-0 draw with there, but yeah, it's a nice stadium, nice place. Obviously, Cheltenham probably have spot of lunch there before dinner or something. Very nice city, and then Oxford for me probably as well. Another just nice day out. I can probably convince my father-in-law to come with me. The missus, my mother-in-law as well. They can do shopping or whatever. So yeah, I guess my the reasons for me going is more who I can convince to come or who I can convince to drive, rather than I'm actually looking forward to that one. So maybe Plymouth, but I'm also looking forward to a couple of women's team or Ipswich ladies games because they're a lot closer. Keensham's really close, and and Cardiff City obviously right on my doorstep. So yeah, those are the ones I'll be looking forward to, just for geography, really.
Definitely. And well, John, you've got a lot of picks, haven't you? So take it away.
Well, for me, it's great. Obviously, I've got Donny because that's where I live. So that's an away game for you guys, but it's my home game in the sense of it's 3 miles from my house. So Watson Towers will be open for all the KOA boys that day. The pies and pints will be on me, I think. Always look forward to going home to Sunderland. I'll catch up with some friends while I'm up there. And there's nothing better than beating the Mackhams. Growing up in Sunderland, getting grief all my life from all my mates up there. It's a good ground to go to. It's a good day out. So I'm looking forward to those. I've enjoyed in the last couple of years going to Fleetwood and Accrington, that kind of northwest area. Had some success there and some good days out there. But had some great days out at Bolton as well. And for me, I've got Sheffield, Rotherham, Lincoln, Donny, all within half an hour's drive for me. So this season away games for me, there's some nice easy ones, but Sunderland, because that's where I'm from, it's always good to go and stick one over your hometown.
Sorry, I just unmuted myself there. So sorry for the delay. Dan, over to you then to finish off the away days. Someone was it Seggs? I think you mentioned Morecambe, or was it Darren who mentioned Morecambe? Someone mentioned Morecambe. Yeah, Seggs. Which that'll be interesting. We've never been there before. I know we played them twice in the FA Cup, but that'll be an interesting one. Along Morecambe, Fleetwood, Accrington. Oh, they're going to be horrible, but they'll be. I think
Morecambe and Accrington are within a week of each other, aren't they? It's Saturday and Saturday. Two Northwest, 2 Saturdays in a row.
Yeah,
I'll say stay up there, but it's probably not worth it.
Should have been county. I would have had an away day in 10 minutes walking distance.
Yeah, we've got to face you in the cup, although it's at home, thankfully, on a Tuesday night. But Dan, over to you then. Finish off. Yep. What's the ones that's standing out for you? Are you looking forward to Plough Lane?
Yeah. Go to the new Don's ground. That'd be good. For me, I love a midweek game under the lights, and I've pinpointed Charlton away on the basis that we'll take 2,500. It's a Tuesday night in December. They're a promotion rival. Drinking all afternoon, singing all evening. And I can get the tube home in 20 minutes.
I'm always interested in everyone's winter ground close strategy. Now, maybe I'm just a bit anal and OCD about these things, but I don't like being cold. So, I
will be wearing clothes.
Yeah, but it's always amazed me. I've been, because I live near to Stoke. I've been to Stoke away lots of times. And in December, February, when the weather's cold, wet, damp, the typical, Stoke on a Tuesday night type weather. And I'll be there in thermals. I'm layered up. I'm prepared, right? Waterproof coats. And then I look to my right and there's some young couple just in their shirts. That is it. No coats, nothing. And I'm freezing. I don't know how people do it. But maybe it's you hard northerners as well, John, as well. Is that kind of standard? Because the Newcastle fans are famous for just stripping off, aren't they? And
if you've never been out in Newcastle on a Saturday night in December or January, you don't realise just how little clothing is needed to live. Because when the orange washes off in the rain and you just see blue skin tone, the colour of their shirt, it's a mess up there. But I'm the same. Maybe it's a sign of getting older, Darren.
Maybe
layers.
Layers.
Don't lose too much weight in the fitness regime because a bit of extra padding, maybe that helps.
It's true. That's true. And the beards help as well.
Yes, and more hair. Just more hair helps definitely in the winter time.
Yeah,
Well, we'll move on to the next question. And the next question is from good old David. He's currently enjoying his trip in Cornwall, although he normally likes to be in France at this time of year. But for obvious reasons, which we won't get into, so I'm sure that will upset him. His question is changing up a little bit from the season ahead. It's actually talking about the current players. And as Dan brought up drinking, it's time to bring this up. Which 3 members of the squad are you choosing to go out and get rat-assed with, and why? And Baines was straight on it, so put your hand up. All of you guys can get involved. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. But Baines, go ahead.
I don't need 3. I only need 2, and it'll be the 2 Czech goalkeepers. I've been to Prague twice. It's it's a fantastic city, history, culture, architecture, but there's also a number of pub crawls as well. The well-known one ending up in a 7-story mega club, which I presume is still in existence, called Kazovsky Lane, I think it is. There's an ice bar on the bottom, all different kinds of music. Beer is cheaper than water. They've got proper absinthe. So I'd take the two Czech lads. We'd go in Prague, have a great time.
Great answer. Johnny Watson.
I would choose Norwood, Hawley, and Toto. Don't know the new lads well enough yet, clearly, but we feel a bit of connection to some of the remaining people. I would choose Hawley because he would just smile at my jokes because he smiles at me. He seems such a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. And he would just be like, I'll buy a pint and go, life's brilliant. I've got a pint. He'll be really, he won't be bringing the mood down, will he? And I reckon Toto would be a really fascinating kind of character to be around. And Norwood, I would just think he would be good banter. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of Norwood, I don't think, but equally I might get some of the real dirt on the squad and what actually happened under Lambert and all the nitty-gritty kind of stuff out from the past. But yeah, Norwood, Hawley and Toto for me.
Go ahead, Six.
I only got one really. That's Norwood because he'd buy us pictures all night, judging by that photo last week.
There we go. Fair enough. Dan, take it away.
Yeah, I think I just kind of connected to David's question was the pictures of the team out in Ipswich bonding after the Millwall defeat. And I actually like the fact that they were playing table tennis in the back room of probably one of the roughest pubs in Ipswich, which I think is it's quite a laudable thing for team bonding. I quite like that. I would like to probably go out drinking with the person that could handle their drink the least, because I think that would be quite amusing. And I think that could be Thomas Holy. I think he's a big lad, and I think he's got wobbly legs, and I think he'd be a great laugh. And I think Thomas Holy would be good on the night out, and I think Toto as well. Surround yourself with the big lads and see how long they last.
Yeah, no one's messing you with your Toto with you, is he?
Well,
you're getting no trouble. You're getting no trouble at all. Yeah,
a lot of Thomas Holy fans here.
Take away the goalkeeping, but
yeah.
No, he could carry a few points as well with hands like that. He's easily going to be able to 4 or 5 probably with his chasing.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm a total lightweight. So for me to go out and get rat-arsed of people, we'd all be in bed by 8:30. So I'd probably rather go out and play golf with people than go out rat-arsed. So whoever plays golf, I'd love to go out with. I'd like to get to know Hladky. I'd just like to look at him and just get some magic and off his hands. Just stare into his eyes for a few hours. That'd be nice. And say, and I'm saying, I'm sure Nors would be full of some stories. So he'd be fun, I think, and he's a pretty decent golfer by the looks of it from his Instagram feed. So we'll skip the drinking bit because I'm in the lightweight, and we'll go out and play golf.
Fair play. Well, I thought this would be a perfect way to then segue into the next question, which is actually from Dan. So we are going to ignore the rules. So I was just going to do all the other posse members, but I thought let's bring in Dan's question, and it's on: would you rather go for a night out down the pub with Paul Cook and his backroom staff, or a few bottles of wine and a meal with the US owners in a fancy restaurant? Of course, they're paying. Surely the new owners are paying. I don't know if Paul Cook will be paying. I don't know if you have to get involved and pay. But Dan?
He's a Scouser, so he probably won't pay. But let's assume it's paid for.
But yeah, Dan, as is your question, take it away.
I think what's quite interesting at Ipswich, when I look at everything that's going on, I quite like it. there's this kind of upstairs downstairs thing, isn't there? There's kind of the kind of scouse lads at the bottom, the kind of playing the management staff and Jeffers and Cook and the all right lads, and they're down the bottom, and then you've got this Mark Ashton who's quite suave and a brilliant communicator, and then obviously the American guys, and then you've got this kind of Bristol City element in there as well, haven't you? The physio guys. I got to say, I'm impressed with all of them. I am a bit of a Paul Cook fan. Every time he speaks, I think he speaks a lot of sense, and I think I personally just think it'd be quite a good laugh him and that lot to go down the pub with. But I just think he's clearly a man manager. Clearly, he doesn't take any rubbish, and I think he's someone that you could talk about football all night with. So my choice would be Cook, but over to you guys.
Well, John, take it away.
You knob.
It's a tough one, that because as Dan rightly said, they all seem like really good guys, don't they? In their own way, like they're down to earth, proper football guys. To the kind of, I would love to sit and chat to Ashton for a while. I think he's a fascinating guy. But if I had to choose just one person out of the whole lot, it would be Brett. I really would love to sit and have a conversation with him. I've really warmed to him. I think he's a fascinating guy. And so I would go for the fancy dinner. Maybe I'm changing. What's going on? I never would have said that years ago. I'll go out with the American guys. I would love to see how much is behind the actual franchise, if you like, the kind of the corporate, which is really personable corporate, but actually see if that's who they are. And I'm sure it is, because they just seem genuine. But I'd love to get to know them more and just chat about life as well as football, because I think if I was with Cook or any of the backroom staff, it would be football-orientated conversation, whereas I think, you might have a wider conversation with Brett. I think he's an infectious character. I would really love to spend time with him.
What are you eating? What are you ordering?
Ooh. Obviously, Jaffa cakes if you were there, Ross, and squashies. Do you know what? I would order just a damn good steak, really good steak, and a few nice salad bits inside, and some nice chips or fries, whatever you want to call them. But just classic, simple, well-cooked steak with those guys. I think we'll love, steak and a few pints or a glass of red or two. That'd be good.
Of course, they're paying. Over to you, Bainesy.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a food snob, I think. So I think Paul Cook and me would probably be lost in translation. So I'll go for a nice meal with the Americans. Michelin star restaurants on my bucket list, as is Wagyu steak. But I'd probably go to a type of restaurant which isn't really seen much over here. I have a bit of hibachi with the American owners. Bit of shrimp flying about. Nice Japanese food, a bit of sake. Happy days. I think we'd have great conversation. So, yeah, the Americans for me. Sorry, Paul. I think I'd struggle to probably understand you, and vice versa.
I'd mix it up a little bit. I'd go out for a meal with Paul Cook, because I think he's a guy that shares my appetite. So I think we'd have a really good meal, something dirty, like a TGI's American style, stack it high, triple burger with some ribs on the side and coconut prawns and that sort of stuff, and we'd have a good old chat about football. Again, skip the beers. Going down the pub is never my happy place, but get me in front of a big pile of very tasty food. I'm a happy man.
Mm. And Segs, to finish it off, what are you going for? Are you going to be a bit different as well?
I'd go pub with Paul Cook and his backroom staff. I think I've been a fan of Paul Cook for a while. First choice when we had Lambert here still, so very happy when he came in. And yeah, it'd be especially after a game. So I'll sit with him, and then you can hear his multiple voice changes. So it's worth it for that, to be honest.
Sometimes I feel like he's doing. Yeah.
Just to hear him, he's fascinating when he speaks. My girls love it. I start playing every time he does it. I just say, listen to the first 20 seconds. They won't let me play a full interview, but within the first 20 seconds, and they just howl that his voice has changed. So his voice changes so much. He's brilliant.
The thing is, I'd give Francis a hard time just because of when he was here on loan and kind of.
Let's not get into it. Segs. Let's not get into it. Let's
Still
not
don't
get into that.
I'll never forgive him for it.
Let it go, Segs. Let it go.
Yeah. He should have signed though. I think he probably regrets it as well. We should have signed permanently, but he went for the money. But let's go and let's do the next question. We're going to go a little bit more serious here, but talk about the stadium. Of course, the Cobble stand, which is looking fantastic. I'm sure you guys, Dazza and Dan, I'm sure when you saw it when you went there. I'm sure Segs. I'm sure you've gone down near Portman Road. So you haven't seen it. Okay. But this
just pictures. It's good, but I'd rather see it on the day. I don't understand the point. Just see it with all the fans there. It looks so much better than just an empty street.
Fair play. This is a question from Bloomers. What is the one improvement you're desperate to have to Portman Road that hasn't happened yet? Of course, with Mark Ashton said a lot of different things. Just the simple things they've sorted out. Just cleaning the seats has been one of the massive things. But once again, I'll open the floor to all of you. If you don't want to answer, then just... Yeah, but if you've anybody in particular want to start this off?
The only thing, I mean, there's a few things around but I'm not. I think some of it's been done. Things like the wooden shutter doors that go through the turnstiles. They were like rotten, and all the paint was peeling off. But I think they've been painted now. The one thing I did notice is our scaffolding thing, the white metal frame that stands at the end of the north stand, and it's not Churchman's anymore, whatever the new name for Churchman's is. They're all like green and covered in all the seagull muck. So clean that off. But also, I'd say I don't go to many home games, but it would just be good if that whole fan zone area could just be alive with different food vendors. And I know I keep coming back to food all the time. It's not like food is part of, but the food, it just adds to an atmosphere. And really, I'm hoping that the American influence, because the pre-game in the States is bigger than the actual game itself, so maybe some of the things can come across, and some big attendances at Portman Road, and we can just get a real buzz and accommodate and everything for all of the people that are coming along.
And of course, one of the big improvements is going to be getting a modern pitch, because I don't think we've actually got a proper modern pitch. Anybody else want to take this question, or shall we move on?
I'd like to introduce just quickly. I used to stand in, the bit between the away fans and the Churchmans, that little kind of quadrant in the corner behind the corner flag. That feels a bit redundant. It's a bit like no man's land.
That's the only original bit of the terrace they've got, so they won't get rid of that.
Yeah, but okay. Well, it's just like then. Wouldn't that be great to have safe standing there then?
Yeah. Safe standing is something that's on the list of considerations, isn't it? I think that would be welcome. I think most Ipswich fans, certainly, maybe not, people in the whatever the names of the stadium. I'm struggling with the new names of all the stands now, because I'm still in the 80s in my head. So I certainly think North Stand, there'll be a big demand for safe standing there, definitely.
And John, I saw you put your hand up, and then we'll move into the next question.
I just think that behind the tunnel area, I know it's been mentioned by Ashton as well, but like sometimes when you see interviews, like even during COVID times when you were taking photos, Ross, or Stu and Andy were doing their post-match discussions about the game, you see some of the kind of, I don't know, little wooden hut, the white wooden framed hut somewhere, and it looks really shabby. It's just those kind of the corner areas of the stands particularly look a bit tired, I suppose. But it's like me talking about somebody else's home, because I still feel I'm a visitor to somebody else's home. Like, I've followed Ipswich for 35 years, but I've been to way more away games than I've been to home games. So it's a weird thing. I'm not. Everybody's excited about Portman Road, but I don't know it as well as some guys. So I feel like I shouldn't be telling somebody how to decorate their house when I don't visit enough.
Okay, well, we'll move on to the next question, and it's sort of a joint question from Alex and Brad, and it's about the fan base. Are they going to be patient enough for things to click? How long does Cook get before he's under pressure? Say if we start slow and we're not, we're mid-table and, it's not clicked yet, how long do you think the owners will give him? Will they fire straight away, or will they just give him time? Baines, I'll start with you as you put your hand up.
I think the absolute minimum you have to give him is a season. I can't see a situation where things are catastrophically bad, where action had to be taken a lot sooner than traditionally we've given managers. But I think you have to give him the season with that amount of player turnover. It's not going to happen instantly. I think we've been very lucky with the fixtures in that most of them are newly promoted sides. A kind start will help that, and even when perhaps we're not playing well, we might be able to get a few points here and there. But I think you've got to give them the year. If it comes to the end of the year and nothing's happened, it's clearly not working, then that's the time to reassess. But I think any less than that would be unfair on him and unfair on the amount of turnover that's gone on. And as well, you've got January as well, another transfer window as well. I think you're going to need additions then. The last time we went up, the January recruitment was crucial. So I think you have to give him that as an absolute minimum. But he is going to be under pressure, reasonably quickly, because of how much we spent and the club we are and stuff. But yeah, we shall see.
Okay. Well, I'll open the floor. Just shout when you want to talk. I feel it's time for me just to go back a bit, relax, and let you take the floor, because I feel like I'm just saying your names and shouting out. So I'm sure the listeners are getting annoyed at that now. So if you want to speak after someone's finished, take it away, and I'll jump in with the next question. Dan, that's the last time I'll say.
Let's face it, there are going to be members of our fan base that if we don't beat Morecambe, they're going to be criticising Cook. That is the world, and I'm not one of them, obviously, but that is the world we live in, right? If we don't beat Morecambe, people are going to be moaning about Cook. He's probably got the best job in the Football League, Paul Cook. He's at a big club with loads of money, building his own team. It's a fantastic job. But it's really interesting what Tom said, that actually on paper, we've got a really, on paper, good start. However, it will probably be the hardest part of the season, will be the first couple of months in a lot of ways. If we're outside the playoffs by Christmas, Cook will be under pressure. He just will. And that's my personal view. But I beginning to feel at Ipswich that I just put my tin hat on sometimes, because it's ridiculous, some of the expectations. And this season, for however excited I am, the expectations are going to be through the roof. So he does need to start fairly well, but he needs to be up there before Christmas, I'd say.
I think Dan, I think you're totally right. I mean, there are people moaning about us losing to Millwall in a friendly. It's ridiculous. So Tom's spot on as well. I don't think he'll be under pressure from the owners and Mark Ashley if by Christmas we're not
Ashley?
there. Mark Ashton. Sorry.
Mark Ashley. Oh no.
Mark Ashton. Apologies, Mark. If by the end of this season he's not made it in the playoffs, then fine. But there will definitely be some, some naive, idiotic fans out there who, we don't beat Morecambe, whatever, then that'll be that Paul Cook's crap, the squad are crap. This is disaster. So most of those probably won't even go to games. They'll just sit at home moaning on their keyboard. But what was Lincoln's record last season? Lincoln did a similar thing, built a whole new squad, and I don't think they won a game, did they? For like 5, 6, 7 games, something like that. And then
Blackpool,
they made,
Blackpool,
Blackpool. Yeah.
We played at their place, and we played the best we played all last season, and we slaughtered them. We took our chances, and everything went our way. But you wouldn't have put them about finishing us above us at that point, would you?
And so Peterborough from the season 4 is another example. We went to Peterborough, drew 2-2, got lucky to get. We did get lucky to get a point, but they weren't nothing special. They brought a load. They did a lot of turnover. Brought an Ivan Toney in. I can't remember who else they brought in at that point. But then they come to us in January and turned us over 4-1. They got much better. I know they still missed out on the playoffs.
I think for anybody who's had a lot of time following town, for proper, even if it's just for 3 or 4 seasons, and you've lived through some disappointments, like we all have, especially if you're talking 10, 20, 30 years, you get a little bit more level. You're optimistic and you're upbeat, and we're onto a good thing and things are looking bright. But there's nothing won in September. I know it's a cliche, but it's absolutely true. I think it'll be under pressure come Christmas if we're not in the top half, if we're below top 8. But realistically, if we're starting to gel and there's signs, I think the general fan base, not the small minority who jump on bandwagons straight away, but the vast majority of people are willing to give him time, because if they see a style of football that is trying to create more going forward, and everybody remembers Newcastle under Keegan, when they were just trying to outscore teams, and you'd forgive them for getting beaten some games because that was going to happen. I think Ipswich fans will give him time. I think as long as we're seeing progress and in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, I want us to finish in the top 2, like all fans. Do I expect it? No. Do I want it? Yes. Do I hope? Yes. But realistically, he's got a full season. He has to. You don't change that many players and give them 3 or 4 year contracts. And we're all pleased with the vast majority of signings. There's a couple for me that I don't know enough about, like Penny being the obvious one. I don't know if he's going to be good enough, but that's not to say he isn't. But he's brought in some good people. And you listen to the Evans interview the other day. Evans is saying he brings out the best in people. He's brought all these characters together. We have to give him time because he's brought the people he wants. So why would we pull the trigger before he has had chance? So for me, I don't think it will even come to this, but he has to have a full season. I hope it's a really successful season. But given the full season for sure.
And it's also interesting that we're a club that gives managers time. The only one that really didn't get time was Hurst. And that's because there was no style of play, really. That was a lot of it. Was that downfall was you weren't really seeing anything coming out at all. What I really like, and this is probably born out of the fact that we've got a bit of money to spend and we're not looking at loans and free transfers, is the fact that all the players we're bringing in are of an age where they're going to develop and they're on 3 years. And it's for what it almost feels like as a club, it's a different kind of model that we might be able to sell these guys. We develop these guys and sell them on, whether Cook's with us or not. Hopefully Cook is on the journey, but we've got these players in for 3 years. And, we've got a bit of protection with the funds. But as a model, it feels like a club. It's definitely the best way to go forward.
Yeah, to me, it feels a bit like the start of the Burley era where we were just building and we were getting players in their prime who hadn't, were not appreciated at the Premier League clubs that they were at, and they got released, and we just bought in good players all in their prime and built, and that was a great squad. So this feels like that now because it's too much under the Evans era. We were either bringing in Lee Bowyer and all these old dudes who were just coming in for one last hurrah, and it was never growing anything, was it? It was just trying to let's try and get promoted this year, and we weren't building anything.
Because now we've got football people running Ipswich.
Yeah.
The big difference is we have now got a club. Our club is run by people who know about football, and I won't, for all Marcus Evans' faults, his departure was. He kind of left us in a good way, and he funded us for 10 years. But he wasn't a football person, and he didn't appoint the right football people, and we didn't keep up to speed with the football industry. And suddenly, over this summer, it feels like we've got people who know how to run a football club.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mark Ashton, certainly, he's already shown the players we're signing. I know we have money to spend for sure, but because we've got $1 million for Dazelle, roughly $500,000 for what's his name, the young lad who's gone to Norwich, Gibbs. Yeah. We haven't had money for anyone for a long time. Not that we've had any proper decent players, I think, but Mark Ashton's come in, got great deals. Raheem, the dream, as Mark says. What we pay $500,000 or something for him, and that's what we got for Gibbs. So that's a good swap, in my opinion. So yeah, you're right. It's more football people, and Mike O'Leary. I mean, I could listen to him for many, many hours. I would buy. I'm hoping he does an audiobook, and if he can, I would listen to that and just relax, just shut my eyes and just listen to him just explain something to me. That would be great. That would be great.
He's a great chairman type figure.
Yeah.
He say that last week. He said, which I thought was interesting, and the last person I heard speak like that was Burley, was if we lose the first 4, we're not going to panic. And if we're top of the league after the first 4, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. And it kind of feels, if you've got the chairman saying that, I know it's easy to say, but I genuinely do believe that. I genuinely do believe that they're going to give Cook a bit of time. But we all look at the table every week, and with the transfer window, everyone knows that when transfer windows come up, that's the time where it gets a bit.
Well, that's the other thing about the previous regime. I'm not going to say his name, but there were times last season where we were second, but we hated watching us play. So you couldn't. The facts were there. We were in a great place in the league, but we were awful. We were awful, plastering it round the back 4 for 85 minutes. And
the biggest thing this season for me, though, Darren, has to be the fact that the players want to play for Cook because he's brought them to the club. A massive difference. Whether some of the players didn't give the role, or it was the wrong system, or they didn't fit in, whatever it was. The 10 of the players he's brought in, and people like Dobra, who's earned his place, and KVY and Norwood, who have kept, and Wolfie and Toto, they've earned their space in his squad. They're going to give their all to him. Whereas, can we really say that last year's team gave their all to Lambert? No. Can you really say that they gave their all to Cook? It didn't show, did it? In fact, their bounce under Cook was really disappointing. I think it took us by surprise. So I think we all expected Cook to get a little bit more out of them. But he said, okay, you're not willing to do that. These guys who I'm going to bring in are, and they're going to give more for him. So, there won't be a question of losing the dressing room. There won't be a question of players not wanting to play for him, which is massive at a football club. In any line of work, if you go in and you've got people who are obstructive, that's challenging. But the hierarchy, you've gone, no, we're going to get it right for you, Mr. Cook. You're going to have all the tools. We'll sort out all this. You get the players that you, and he's been able to pick the guys he wants.
And he's done it. He's done it. That's the other great thing. Come on, he's done this twice. He did it with, Wigan. Wigan let in 30 goals in 46. I mean, that's what he's done it. He knows when we don't win 4, when we don't win in 4 games, he'll know how to keep the dressing room safe. You know, if he that's going to be one of the greatest things, and he's done it, and a lot of managers in that league, because it's the most competitive League One I've seen.
It's bonkers, isn't it? It's bonkers.
It's mad. There's about 10 clubs that think they can go up.
Yeah. Well,
10.
probably 20.
Yeah.
They'll all think that. That we all start the season thinking we're going to do it, don't we? So But yeah, the size of the clubs now. Sunderland. What we got? Sunderland, Sheffield Wednesday, Hull.
The championship, my friend.
How they went up. Sorry, ignore that. Not Hull.
Rotherham, who are my tips to win it, but there's a lot. There's a lot
Charlton,
of decent,
big clubs. Big clubs.
But we've got a manager that's done it.
Yeah,
that's the one difference we've got, and we've got to remember that, and hopefully, but I'm not one of these happy clappers that we do need results, and I think John's point, we need a style of play. I mean, I will never be shouting for a manager to be sacked during the game, because I think that's completely counterproductive and pointless. Maybe do it in the pub afterwards or whatever, but he does need to be really interested in these first 4 games, because on paper they're winnable. And I think one of the months you've got is an absolute, we've got like Lincoln, Pompey, Sunderland, and Charlton. Ooh. We it'd be great if the team was gelling by then. Then if we're in the top 6 before we play them, then happy days.
Wow. Okay then. Well, I want to try to get this done in an hour and a half, and we're gone over an hour now. But always great chat. I'm sure everyone enjoyed listening to that. Segs, do you want to say anything else, or should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, well, all been said really, but I just think everyone needs to remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint. We've got exciting times ahead. We've got a few decent players in. We're finally out that rut where we thought these players were good enough, but perhaps they weren't for whatever reason, or they weren't playing for the manager. There's different times now. We've got fans back. If we lose the first 4 games, we lose 4 games. It's nothing to worry about, because I think, like I say, it's a marathon, and once they click, I think it will be special. I'm not saying it'll be top 2, but I truly believe this season will be exciting for us. And if it's not, then something's seriously wrong at this club.
Yes, well said, my friend. Now, next is a question from James, and it's sort of linked to what we've been chatting about, but it's about the squad. And this is the question: does the current ITFC squad have enough leaders in it, considering all the turnover of the players from last year? It looks like Lee Evans is pretty much going to be the captain this year, but I'm sure there could be other candidates there. Who would like to take the lead on this question? And go ahead. Dazzle.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to see games in the flesh rather than what's on TV, because you then get to see those discussions off the ball. When the ball's gone out for a throw-in, and normally on TV it's panning someone in the crowd eating a pie. It's my food reference again. You can tell I'm dieting. Then at Crystal Palace the other day, we got Ryan Fraser was constantly like Scott Fraser. See, I'm terrible with names, so this is going to take me a while. Apologies, Scott Fraser. He was constantly geeing people up, off the ball, congratulating people. Hladky was constantly, talking to his defence and having, and Toto and Wolfie, and getting them all going and talking off the ball and telling them what they should have done. And I think there's a lot of leaders now. I didn't get to see Lee Evans, but everything I've heard about him is that he's stamped on kind of captain, drive everyone on type of person. So I think we got a load of players. Edmondson, we haven't seen how he plays. Hopefully he's a vocal centre half and not mute. But no, I think Cookie's brought in winners. I think he's got in a lot of people that he's bought, worked with at other clubs. Lots of other players who've been successful at other clubs, and they're all winners. And that's even if you're not shouting and screaming at the opposition. If you're taking responsibility and getting on the ball and trying to beat your man, if you're a forward player, then that's leadership as well. So no, I think we got it's night and day. What the fucking Jesus? This is water. This is not vodka. So night and day compared to last season when it was they played most games like a friendly.
And last season, all I'll say on this is that Chambers was that classic alpha male leader, wasn't he? He was the chest pumping, chest beating, fist pumping alpha male leader who almost saw it as part of his job to be a leader. And it could, with him and potentially Scoo's gone and all of that dressing room leadership gone, it might be time for some new lads to come through now. I feel like it's time. I know he's laid back, but I'd like to see Luke Wolfenden possibly in his, as a centre back, show a bit of something in it. And without maybe Chambers now, there could be a few lads coming through that take it on themselves, because you don't have to. That's not sometimes your kind of leadership, is it? You can lead by just your work rate and your example and your encouragement to the players. And maybe it's time for I think Evans is like that kind of, has that strut, and he plays in the centre of the pitch, and he's got to win those battles. He's a key player. He seems like an obvious leader, but I think, all over the pitch now, it's time for some lads to come through.
I think probably that Evans seems, and I'm not saying he's anywhere near as good. I hope he ends up being as good for us, but he's a bit like a Matt Holland, isn't he? He's that kind of leads by example, does everything well. He's not necessarily going to be as vocal as some captains. I still think there's possibly a room for that kind of big, rugged centre half still to come in as a fourth centre half. I still think we're looking for somebody. But as Darren said, you can lead in different ways, and leadership is in different ways. And I think somebody like KVY will lead in the sense of his willingness to work. I think, you've got enough different characters in there. I think Dobra has got leadership about him in the sense of he won't be scared to say, give me the ball, I want to have a go. I think Harper, from what I've read, I haven't seen him enough yet, will want the ball and command the ball. That's leadership. Not being Jim Magilton was like that. No matter what was happening in the game, he wanted the ball. That is leadership.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone that compares to the level of intensity that Jim had. He is absolutely demanding every second of a game. He's just amazing. It must have been a nightmare to be his teammate. Can you imagine? But yeah, he set standards. That's for sure.
And he did it in training as well.
Yeah.
We want someone like to drag everyone along to be that. Don't be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid. We need people that are not going to be afraid, that we want the ball, we want to pass the ball, especially at Portman Road. We just got to be. We've got to be flying at things. Even when they're sitting back, we need someone like a Norwood and Evans. Right, come on, keep going, push up the pitch. That's what we need. That's what we've lacked, I think, for quite a while.
Yeah,
I think you don't even necessarily need lots of leaders. Evans is looking like the captain, even if he orchestrates everything. Just people being vocal and being positive and being encouraging. I think it's better to have players like that than a lot of people who all want to be captain or all want to be a leader. Just let one person orchestrate it, and just be positive and be vocal. I think the criticism of us in past years is we've been very quiet, and I think Wolfenden as well, especially, he's coming to a very critical point in his career, especially at centre back. He should definitely be more vocal at the heart of that defence, and it'll be interesting to see who else we bring in, whether it is a more experienced centre half, compared to the likes of Edmondson, who is a bit younger. But yeah, just more vocal players and more positivity. I think that's all we need. We don't need loads of leaders per se. I might be completely wrong, but that's what I reckon.
Okay, and Segs, I'm going to sort of link up this question to actually your question as well, but just have your say on the leadership thing, and then we'll bring in your question. So yeah, take it away.
So I think Norwood would be a good sort of leader up front when he plays. He always wants the ball. He's quite commanding as well. So I think in terms of Norwood and when he plays stuff, he'll add to that dimension to it. If he plays much, we're still that fitness issue with him, but he looks fit at the moment. So I think in terms of leaders, it's all been said. We've got Evans as captain to see where it goes. I think I like the idea of having a midfielder as captain again. To be honest, sort of back in the middle of it all. never really like a striker as captain, so defenders, sees it also. For me, it's either a midfielder or a defender, so to see a midfielder back as captain's a good choice. And obviously, Cook trusts him to be his man, and going forward, I have no problems with that. And see where we go.
Okay, so let's bring 6 questions in then, and this is what he wants to open the floor to, and I'll let you take this as well, Segs, in terms of you pick your player. But there we go. Paul Cook alluded to the fact that he's fully aware that some players he's let go could prove him wrong. Who, if any, is most likely to do this? So, Segs, take the floor. Choose your player if you've got any.
Yeah, it's just I saw it. I think it was this week he said that, wasn't it? Or the past few days he said he's fully aware that some players might, show that actually he made the wrong choice. But I fully agree that it was time for them to go. We were all stuck in a rut. We all know that it was time for a change when the owners came in, and we've done that with all these new signings and the amount of players that we've got rid of. In terms of the one I think that's going to perhaps prove him wrong will be Bishop. I think he'll do quite well at Lincoln. He needs a fresh start somewhere different to actually start playing properly, start getting his perhaps his love for the game back. But for me, I think Bishop will be the player that sort of proves Cook wrong and perhaps say, yeah, you perhaps should have kept me. I know our midfield is looking quite strong at the moment with the signings we've made, but Bishop's one for me. He's been here a while. It was time for him to go, perhaps, in terms of he needs a change. But the mentality of him had been part of the club for so long. I mean, especially with like we had last year, because that kind of mentality needed to go, and I'm glad it has. So, in terms of my question, I think it would be Bishop.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree with you as well. I think Bishop's telling because obviously the rest of them who generally went below us, with the exception of Dizelle going to QPR. I think for a team like Lincoln, who are very smart with recruitment and very data driven as well, I think he could definitely be one that comes back to bite us. And then the only other one I can think of maybe is Lancaster, just because of his age. Potential is incredibly difficult to judge. It's what the general argument on Twitter was regarding Gibbs. I think I said it as well. It's difficult to judge the potential of a player and what could have been when perhaps they've not been in the side consistently. But I think we saw flashes of him. We saw flashes of talent. Obviously, a very significant back injury has prevented him from having a long spell within a team. He's probably one that could have benefited from that loan spell in January. Was it Salford were interested? What could have been with him if he'd had a decent spell in League Two, maybe proved himself? Maybe Cook would have a different opinion, but he's the only other one I can see potentially biting us. But yeah, with the rest, it was the right time for him to go for me.
I think Dizelle will do well at QPR. I think he will do well at QPR. I think he's the type of player that he'll get a bit more time in the ball. He'll be playing in a Mark Warburton team. He won't be asked to defend. And in the champion, I think Dizelle is a decent player, a good player that just wasn't right for Ipswich. He's played a full season. He hasn't got injured. Bishop, for me, he's made a paper. He can't. He won't be playing 46 games. That might come back and bite me, but I can't see Bishop contributing over a season. Dizelle in the right team, I think he's a good player, and to all intents and purposes, he's settled in really well there. And I hope he does really well.
I think Dizelle was right for Ipswich, just not a League One Paul Lambert Ipswich. I think if Championship, if he'd have come through, if he hadn't got injured under Mick like he did as well, which set him back, I feel like we'd have seen much better than what we have done. But the fact that we got relegated didn't help his cause at all.
Yeah, true.
If we'd have stayed in Championship and he progressed with us there, we'd probably be talking about something different.
I still think Downs is the player who will come back and prove us whenever.
He hasn't gone yet.
I didn't say he had. What I was saying is, I still think Downs will be the player who comes back to bite us at some point, because I don't quite know what's gone on there. Over the last few weeks, people have been kind of saying on Twitter and chats that there's something wrong with the people who giving them advice and advising them, and maybe he hasn't shown the right attitude, and I really can't comment on that. But he's the only player who I think I'm disappointed hasn't seized the opportunity. You know, quite a few of us have said, why wouldn't you want to be part of this? I think it was Matt or Bono tweeted that out just the other day. You know, why wouldn't you? And maybe he does. Maybe it's too late to show Cook that he wants to be that. But I think whenever he does move on and to wherever he goes, if he gets his attitude right, presumably because it's not right, but I hope it is for him, because I think he has a bright future. You know, he's better than a League One under 23 player, let's be fair, because I thought our first year in League One, he was our standout player by a million miles. There's nobody close to him. Like in our squad, in an underperforming team, he was our best player that first year. So I think, whilst I hear what people are saying, Dizelle, you know, I've always had splinters up my backside talking about Dizelle because I kind of like part of what he does. I just don't think he's an all-round midfielder. And would he get above Harper or Evans in the Cook team? Absolutely not. So it's right for him to move on. And a good luck to him. I wish him no ill whatsoever. I hope he has a fantastic career. But I do think when Downs does eventually go and gets to the right club, he potentially will be the player who will perform better than anybody else who's left.
I wish that with Downs something happens where he stays an Ipswich player, but because of what John's just said, and because at the age of 23, you don't get many spiky midfielders like Downs. He's got something about him. He's not your typical kind of player, and he's a good. But it's clear, you know, what all I've heard is there's been a fundamental breakdown, and he wants to go. And he's a London boy. He's got family there, and he wants to go. Palace have turned his head. I can kind of understand what Cook's doing by basically saying, if you don't want to be with us, then you're not with us. But I would love somewhere down the line, either Downs to kind of become aware and speak to Cook, or maybe behind the scenes Cook having a little chat with Downs, because he's such an asset in League One, even if it's just for this season. You know, even if no one comes in for him by August 31st and we've got Downs on the bench, because if Harper or Evans gets injured at the moment, Nolan's not fully fit yet, and Downs is a perfect replacement for Evans or Harper, and they're not going to play 46 games. And I just feel like he's a brilliant asset for us. And if we can just say to him, give it your best shot, get us up into the Championship, and we'll talk again in the summer. It just feels such a waste to get rid of Downs. But I can, you know, if he's going to Cook and saying, mate, I don't want to be with you, what would you do? All right, well, jog on then. If you're genuinely not in for it, it's a shame. Yeah. It's a shame it's come to this, and it is all down to bad advice. I'm sure it's agents and advisors.
I thought you were going to segue into yours, but no, I'm not happy now. Carry on.
No, I've got nothing to add to that, really.
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
No, I don't think most of the player. I mean, Dizelle, I love Dizelle, but I don't really think we let him go because, you know, we got £1 million for him, and I think that triggered his release clause and all that. I think maybe it's, you know, all the likes of Lancaster and people like that. You know, they're the ones. Will they in 3 or 4 years' time be ripping up the league? And we think, do you remember when he used to play for us? But the majority of them, I don't think are going to. I think League One is probably what they've shown so far. Maybe once they've got out of the bubble of Ipswich Town, you know, someone like Bishop, for example, has been there since a kid. He might get out. Perhaps the facilities and everything aren't as amazing as Ipswich. Perhaps he's not surrounded with everyone telling him how amazing he is and full of his schoolhood friends who worship him because he's a professional footballer, and he has to now go and prove himself, you know. So all of us, whatever work of life you're in, you know, sometimes you all need to get a bit of a kick up the butt and a reset and remind ourselves, you know, to do the right things and get out of the bad habits that we might have fallen into. So yeah, good luck to all the players. Good luck to all of them. And But we're now focused on our players now. Don't care about them anymore.
Yeah. But then, of course, as Seg said, that's what Paul Cook, he alluded to, saying, he's fully aware those players could prove him wrong, and we'll wait and see on that. I'm sure we'll be following them. Bishop will return. Lancaster will probably return if he's not injured. Let's take a look at Harvey's question. We're going to try our best to whip through all the rest of the questions. So next question is on actually Cook and the youngsters. So should Cook be criticised if a youngster doesn't break through this season? Although I think a lot of them will probably play in the Papa John's Trophy. Although I don't count that as a debut. I know it's a competition I'm just going to stop. Or do we have a look at the bigger picture and understand getting out of League One with players that know the league takes priority? Johnny, go ahead.
Big picture. End of.
Yeah.
This is about getting out of this division. Bring the youngsters through, coach them by all means. But the team this year is about trying to get out of League One. That's it. Big picture.
Yeah.
Papa John's the ideal place for them to play a bit of competitive football. Obviously, under 23s is not proper football, but the Papa John's is a competitive trophy, and a lot of teams do take it seriously, and I think it's an ideal place for them to be. I completely agree with John. It's no time for youngsters to be chucked into this situation. We need players who can do it right here, right now. We haven't got time to wait for anyone.
The ironic thing is, though, I think Gibbs would have been the most likely to break through, and he's not going to break through in the Premier League. So
No. I mean, the one thing that hasn't been happening a lot over recent years, and maybe that's a reflection of the caliber of player that we've had in the under 18s and under 23s, is not many of our youngsters have gone out on loan, not really. And we saw to Wolfie what a massive benefit that was for Wolverhampton to go out to Swindon for a whole season, I think. And then he stepped straight into our first team and looked composed, ready. I think he was probably better that first season than he was last season. Ironically enough. Downs went out on loan, and they've all come back. Yeah, so playing under 23s is not competitive. It doesn't mean anything. It's an exercise game. Whereas you get out there in front of crowds and tackles that matter, goals that matter, mistakes. Then you learn a lot more, I think. So I'm not. I'd be happier that some of our younger players were on loan somewhere else and played a lot, so they're ready to come back to us, than try and build. This isn't the year for us to try and build a squad around youngsters.
I think Simpson will have a good season down in Swindon. I think he'll come back looking stronger and a better striker than what he was at the moment for us.
Trees.
He was never going to break. He was never going to break through this season for us anyway.
No.
Get him some experience and actually get him some time playing in the league and see what he can do.
Yeah. And I think Mark Ashton has spoken about getting that loan system right, getting some of our players out, and that's right. I think they're talking about. Cook's talked about a smaller squad, hasn't he? And I think Ashton has alluded to having a smaller intake potentially, with smaller players. We're getting them proper game time, getting them proper loans. So you're managing less people, but doing it more successfully. Perhaps that's the way to go. It has to be about getting out of the division, though. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Get the youth boys playing in the get the under 18s populating the under 23s, so they're playing against men-ish 4 years older than them, and then do lots of loans like Therese Simpson, Bailey Clements, Corian Darber. Get them playing men's football, proper loan manager, proper clubs, and if they're not getting picked, bring them back, and then recall them if we need to. But it's not Cook's job to bring through youngsters, in my view. It's his job is to get us promoted.
Well, we can't be asking if he should be under pressure by November if he's not succeeding. If we're asking him to bring through 3 or 4 youngsters, if we're putting the pressure on him to be successful, then what are we basing success on? Success is about getting out of the division, so we shouldn't even be talking about it.
Yeah, I think the players he's brought in are a long-term vision as well. Even Macaulay Bonne, if we get promoted, I can't see us not signing him. So I think it's the vision at the moment is long-term. So we've got to get used to these players because they're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, they're all in their prime.
Yeah, this is the face of Ipswich Town now, and whether the youngsters like it or not, they've got to deal with it because this is our team, and we need to get promoted and start pushing up the leagues again.
Wow, perfect way to end it. As John said, big picture, big picture. Now let's get into a question from Tom Bainesy. And also maybe, John, I'm going to maybe link up both your questions because it's sort of similar. So the question is from Tom. This is, if you could give players a short message, piece of advice for the season ahead, what would it be? And then John's question is, what would you most like to ask Paul Cook? So you can answer both of these questions. But yes, who would like to take? Oh, Tom, you take the lead on this, as it's your question. Also, John, you follow suit.
I think for me, obviously, this season is going to be like no other, and especially for us fans coming back, Portman Road looking fantastic, the positivity and enthusiasm that's around the club at the moment. I think my message to the players would be just enjoy it, enjoy being in the spotlight, enjoy having their support behind you, because I think this season is going to be absolutely magical, and there's so many players that go throughout their career with nothingness, just treading water and no promotions or anything, but to be part of a side that is one of the favourites to be on for promotion, I think can only be a good thing. So yeah, my message to them was just enjoy it, live for the moment, and enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, spot on, Tom. I mean, for me, I would just be saying, seize the moment. Come on, I'll be like the kind of.
Come on, John. I love this. I'm just going to sit comfortable now. Come on, John.
You put the pressure. I'll be saying, like, listen, this is the club here, this team, this shirt. This is a new era. The fans are coming back. They want success. You go out there and give it your all. I'll back you. The whole crowd will back you. Give it your all. They'll love you and will be a success. Come on, show it. Stand up. Be counted. Run into adversity. Go for it. If you're a professional footballer, wouldn't you just love to be part of that team right now? I mean, yeah, that's what it's made for. You're going together with a team of players who are coming together with a manager who is popular, with a new chairman and CEO who are really powerful and articulate and got a vision, and an ownership who are backing you. Why wouldn't you want to go out there flying out the blocks? So it would be just like that kind of rallying cry. Come on, we can do this. Wear the shirt, give it your all. If we fall a little bit short, I think we'll all forgive them if they've gone out and given their very best and scored goals and entertained us. So come on, you Blues, get in there.
Yeah,
I need the tissues. Emotional.
My message would be the same though. It's kind of promotion, or if not, just make sure you do your best to at least get close, because that's got to be the aim, is promotion or at least playoffs. So especially after the past 2 seasons we had. But I think the players as well. Most of them never played in front of us before. I know there's the friendlies, but they don't count. But there's most of them, they haven't played in front of us. They've got to show us what they can do, and they've got to get it right, so that we can all get behind them and actually realise there's something special here, which we all on paper know there is, but we've actually got to see that, and they've got to go out there and show us that.
That's a balance of excitement versus pressure, isn't it? It's like seizing the moment or falling underneath the pressure. And over the last couple of years, Seggs, the players have gone on the kind of, we're not quite, we want these guys to go like that, don't we? Seize that moment, because I think you got to.
I think the past 2 years though, and it was partly our fault because we clapped them down. As soon as we got relegated, we all clapped them down, which in hindsight was a bad thing to do, because they just got used to the mediocrity and just thought, okay, whatever we can do, it doesn't matter how we play, they'll clap us whatever. And I think it is a new era now. We said that 3 years ago, but now the new owners are coming on these players. It's a time for them to actually push on and actually show us what they've got. It's not a time for that anymore. We've now got to start showing us, start playing, and actually give us something to get behind again, because we haven't had that for the past, apart from the first 2-3 months of the first League One season, where we all thought, we're going to piss this league, but it didn't turn out not to happen. So I think the players got so used to that. Yeah. Now they've got to give us something to actually shout about again. Especially now this is our first season back. We're all buzzing to get back. I'm sure every fan in the country is buzzing to get back for whatever reason. But most of them haven't played in front of us before. So
put yourselves on the cobble stand. This club has had no heroes for 15 years. All of you, go out onto Portman Road, look at that mural, look at the statues, and ask yourselves, do you want to be on a cobble stand? Because you are going to get backing from these fans. Look at that team in '92 who got promotion. Get yourselves up there. Get yourselves on that. You'll be a part of Ipswich history. And we haven't anyone doing that for Ipswich for 15, 20 years. Put yourselves firmly in Ipswich history that you'll never have a better opportunity.
Wow. Dazza, have you had a say on it all?
No, just have a go. Just have a go. I'm not a particular fan of this whole millennial speak of, do your best, enjoy it. Just you need to, they are paid to get results. So go and have a go. Ipswich in the past, when we've done well, we've had a go at people. We've never been a team that's been good at defending and controlling. We have a go. We attack. Sometimes it's a bit direct, but we just have a go, and let's go and win. Let's go and win. So
I think we'll go back. We'll definitely go back to the old Ipswich way, though. This is the first time I've ever felt since Joe Rule that we could outscore anyone.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully, by the time we get 16 games, 10 games, 12 games, things are clicking. We need wingers, and but we got some strike force there. So goals.
But that doesn't matter how many you score. We'll score more than you. Mentality is hopefully looking forward to seeing that again.
Yeah, but don't forget we've got Hadkey in goal, and he's going to keep 46 clean sheets. So all we need to do is score one in every game. We've won every game because he's amazing. No one's going to score past him.
I'm not convinced after that first save you made last week, but
it's friendly. Doesn't matter.
Friendly doesn't matter.
He's getting his mistakes out of the way. It's just.
I did say I don't count, didn't I? So that's fair.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna apologise to Dazza and Matt. We are going to scrap your questions because I feel we're getting to a point now where we need to wrap up the show. And of course, we've got the game against Morecambe. I thought that passionate just speeches from all of you just made me more buzzed for Saturday. Dazza's question was about, which player that you've seen play for Town over the lifetime would you put in the squad? But that can be for a future.
Now. You can't ask it now.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that was your question, and also a question from Matt Bono was this, because of the Neil Warnock thing with the bum bag. But we won't answer that. It's just that's just something there. That could be an inside sort of joke. He's obsessed with that bum bag. He is indeed. But that could be for a future show. But let's talk about Morecambe. Morecambe playing in League One for the first time in their history. This will only be our third ever game against Morecambe. We've played them twice in the FA Cup. We've beaten them 3-0, 4-0. Now, starting 11s is going to be a big talking point going into this game. I want to get your starting 11s and your prediction. I've just seen the papers. I'm going to start with John. I think John, he's just buzzing with joy. So I'm going to start with John, and then we'll go back with Seggs, and then we'll just go around the circle. And then, starting 11, John, and your prediction.
So this is based upon people who we know are fit. So we know we're without our new centre half. So I think the back four picks itself. So it's Penny at left back, KVY at right back, Wolfie and Toto in the middle. You've got Cladgy in goal, Harper and Evans presumably in the centre, and then I think not many of us would probably change much of that because Edmonton's not fit. Okay, so that's probably Piggott starts for me up front, Burns on the right. I think that's sorted. I think the only contentious ones is Fraser, Bond, Chaplin. So I would start Fraser in the 10 and probably start Bond on the left for this game.
Is Fraser going to make it? He's got a knock, isn't he? Is he going to be fit for Saturday? No. Yeah, he's got a knock.
I think that's all bluff. I think he's going to
play. You? He fooled me, you see. I'm stupid.
Well, it could be me being stupid, of course, which is very conceivable. I think Fraser will start in the 10 and Bond on the left. And I think Norwood would come on as sub. So Chaplin just misses out, I think. But
okay,
I think Burns has to be on the right. him and KVY have been, from what I've read and seen. Obviously, I haven't been to any of the pre-season, unfortunately. But I think most of the team's nailed on. It's just, I think you've got to start Bonn at this point. I can't see him playing every game. But at home, big physical presence at home in his hometown club, in front of all the fans. Big chance for him to kind of seize that opportunity.
Yeah. He's not that big, actually.
He's a big presence. I mean, he's not big. He's not like me.
No one's like you, John. No one's like you.
You say the sweetest.
They broke the mold.
Do you want us to leave and stick on the room?
If you want.
Yeah. But John, what's your prediction, my friend?
I can't
4-1, 4-2.
I'm going to go sensible. I was going to go 4-1, Ross. I was going to go 4-1. I'm going to go 2-0 Ipswich. 2-0, professional, thorough, not quite. In some ways, I think it'd be really sensible. Let's all take the 3 points out, But if we did turn it on and score 4, 5, or 6, it might be counterproductive for later games. So not to get people get carried away. I think a good solid 2-0 performance would be really what the doctor ordered. So I'm going to go for 2-0. I want 4, but I'm going to go for 2-0.
Fair enough. Well, Segs, take it away. Do you agree with John's team? Once again, pick the team that with the players that are fit, and then also your prediction.
I pretty much agree with the team. I mean, you can't change too much, can you? I mean, the back four right itself had Ladke in goal, Evans and Harper in field. The only one is perhaps, I know Baines was having a few fitness issues, wasn't he, recently? So if he's not quite fit, you could always put Chaplin there. I think Botten will be on the left, and then obviously Fraser if he is fit behind Piggott. I think Piggott will start, and then Norwood, as John said, Norwood on the bench and perhaps come on, get us our 5th or 6th goal. The team's sort of almost same as John's. I think you can't really change too much in my eyes. See how it goes. It's a shame that Edmondson isn't fit because I'd like to see him in defence, and he seems like a bit of a big guy, and kind of I wouldn't want to get in the way of him.
The Fridge, that's his nickname apparently. The Fridge.
So
he's a unit. Yeah, he's a unit.
But to be fair, I don't want to disrespect Morecambe, but I don't think they're going to cause too much trouble for Wolford and Toto. Obviously there'll be 1 or 2 issues, but this is the thing though. We've said it the past 2 years. The League 1, League 2 calibre in terms of strike force, it's not that great. I know we've got more contenders this year with Sheffield Wednesday coming down and Charlton and all those still here, but in terms of the lower half, the level of striking ability isn't great. I mean, the sort of the first 2 or 3 months under our first League 1 season, we could have quite easily been sort of drawing or losing. It's just the fact that they weren't putting the goals away against us, and it wasn't until we got worked out that eventually we were losing 1 or 2-0. So I don't expect us to lose. I expect us to keep a clean sheet. It's just how many we score. Because John's saying, it's professional. We're going to get 5 or 6 every game. We've got that strike force now. We're going for the 100 goals, but no. I think with fans back, they want to give us a performance. We've all missed being at the game. They've all, I'm sure, missed playing in front of fans, and it's obviously their new club. I feel like they'll give us a performance, and I think we'll win 3-0.
3-0, another clean sheet. Dazza, over to you. Once again, I'm sure you're going to echo the team. And
I mean, the back 4 and the holding 2, Evans and Harper, I think they're pretty much nailed on for quite a while, I would imagine. Wes Burns on the right. I mean, him and KVY, I think outside of the Premier League, you're going to do well to find a better combination than that, even in the Championship. So they're just frightening. Defenders are not going to want to play against them, and KVY looks absolutely at it. He's overlapping, taking people on, those big step overs that he does, so them two are going to rip teams apart. For me, the remainders, I'm going with Piggott and Norwood up front, and Dobra on the left. We haven't seen a lot of Bomb in wide positions. He's only ever played through the middle, so I can't see suddenly Bond's gonna play out wide, and Dobra's obviously did was probably man of the match at KOA. Chaplin, we don't know what his fitness is, but that's just go with he's not ready yet and he's not going to be rushed. So yeah, I'm going to say Dobra, Burns, Piggott and Norwood. They're going to be, and it's going to be 1-0. First clean sheet out the 46 for Halki, and Wes Burns is going to cross it. Piggott's going to head it. Keeper's going to save it. Norwood's going to go in, studs up, push it over the line. 1-0. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
But Morecambe, just 20 more seconds. Morecambe have made 15 signings, and they've let 11 go. So they haven't come up with a settled team, and they're all having a go. Basically, every player they've lost, they're just starting again. So then, they've got
a different manager as well.
Yeah, they're not carrying the momentum from last season, getting promoted. They're a brand new team, and we've got better players than them, so we should win.
Only won by 1-0. But that's your choice. That's your choice.
It's a win.
It's a win. It's a win. It's a win.
It's a win.
Well, Bainesy, 2-0, 3-0, 1-0. What are you going for? And any other changes in the starting 11?
Mine is pretty much a carbon copy of Darren's. I think Dobra's got something to offer as well. He's fought for his place. He stuck his hand up. He said he wanted to be involved. I think that speaks volumes. And I think he's been with the club so long, opening day with everything going on, it could give him that extra 5 or 10%. So I agree, Dobra on the left. And the only other change for me would be Macaulay Bonne as a 10. I think, again, Chantry boy, local lad. This could be, a fantastic, proper debut game for him. And I think it will make a real impact. But it could easily be Norwood. Norwood could play 10. Cook's alluded to the fact that he might have 2 strikers. It could be him. It's a nice debate to have. But yeah, on scoreline, 3-0 for me. I'm gutted it's not Derek Adams, because I was looking to wiping the smile off his very smug and but what he did to County. But yeah, 3-0. I think it'll be reasonably comfortable.
Just add it. I think it'd be a bit silly not to start Bond, to be honest. I mean, local boy. Crowd would be buzzing for it. I know I keep saying it, but the crowd would be buzzing because we're all back and be his debut for his hometown club. I mean, it'd be a bit silly not to play him. I think he'd be well up for it. I'd like to think he would be anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be, and I'm sure he'll have loads of family and friends in that ground. Well, Dan, take the floor to finish off this monster of a podcast. It's been a pleasure, lads. I'm sure you're going to echo the starting 11, or are you going to chuck in a random player and your prediction?
From what I saw,
wild card. That is the word I was thinking of. Wild card. There you go.
Wild card, yeah. Well, from what I saw last week and what Cook was doing and trying out, Piggott played behind Botten. So Piggott was dropping short and actually Botten was leading the line. My probably wild card, although Darren has said it, I would, psychological reasons, I'd start with Norwood, as give him the main man's job up front, see how he goes with that, and play Piggott slightly off him, and have Bonne on the bench, and because they're all 3 of them will be itching to come on in front of 19,000 fans, so it's going to be a psychological game, that one. But I'd go with Norwood and play Piggott just behind him, and on the left, I don't think Connor Chaplin's going to be fit. So I'd start with Dobra on the left. And I think Chaplin's going to be our signing of the season. I can't believe we've signed Connor Chaplin. Can't believe we've got him. Fantastic signing, really is. Well chuffed for that. Might have to give him a bit of time. Scoreline, it's going to be a bit nervy. I think we'll win 2-1.
Ooh, goal conceded. Sorry, Dazza.
I can't see the way we attack and play and the way the crowd will urge us on. We're going to leave a few gaps, and I don't think Toto and Wolfie will be. They're good players, but I think we'll give up a few chances. And I think.
But it doesn't matter. We've got Cladkey in goal. He will save everything. Honestly,
I know,
Just
mate, but I did see him
believe
last
me.
week as well.
Friendly.
Yeah,
It's friendly.
No, I know.
It's friendly.
He looks an upgrade, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does. He's awesome. I love him.
But bring it on. 2-1. Let's just get a win. Let's just get a win.
I can't say it's conceding. I know we did like 3 last week, but I was against a team that was settled in the championship for however long. We're against a team who's just got together and, getting to know each other. Whereas this time, as Darren said, 15 new signings from Morecambe. I might need to up my scoreline, maybe 4 or 5. I'll keep it 3. I'll keep it down.
3. Okay, then. Well, 2-0, 3-0, 1-0, 3-0, and a 2-1 prediction. Well, lads, it's been a pleasure. What a show. It's been Seggs, Dazza, Bainesy, Johnny Watson, and Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope everybody at home have been enjoying listening on your walk, on your runs, on your drive. Even if you're listening to this on your drive to the game on Saturday, enjoy your day. Being back at Portman Road, I know everyone is going to have a great day. Hopefully the weather's going to be nice. And we're back next week for some more great podcasts from the main pod to the fan social. And look out for game day as well on Saturday. You'll see some familiar faces on that. As always, make sure to follow us on Kings of Anglia on all the socials. And enjoy it. Bring it on.